As Gael Merrich.
As Hoon Rowan Rees showed you Claare and Gael, a smile am sure shall to go. Well, this is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert the Carslach.
Did the ever hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
And I'm here to present this programme which is called Claare and Gael, a programme in which you'll hear two languages, the English language as a Gilg, and the Manx Gaelic, Chinian Amera, the mother tongue of Ellen Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Badacht and Jurish, well, after spending some time finding out about the Scotsman, Anthony Dunlop, who gave the name of Ellerslie to Ballacraine and Marown, we've started following the Reverend Thomas Stevens' Poetic Guide of 1832 from Crosby towards the west. Ta Mina Murray gurgich I heen beggan lior y sgriw sy lior laeg, ach ta daim neeg. Chanelli a chlashen by Jonathan Harker, near a scriweshen de inchgi de rawe a chi for Gael Castell Dracula. Aston Carek, Lucy Westenra, en oil toyach rish shan oshwek, shul na cadla. Well, the festival Celtique de Lorient is underway, and you can find live streams on France 3, as I did for the Bagadou yesterday and for the Grand Parade this morning. The first category Bagadou Championship consisted of just the round in Lorient yesterday afternoon. Winners were, for the 23rd time, Bagad Kemper. Well, unfortunately, the recording I made is too poorly balanced. However, the nation of honour in Lorient this year is Asturias, so this is Asturian singer PILOCHA. Tashu geisach rish Radio Vanning, Stasiwn and Ashun, Visgorl Skeliena Washtulish, Ellen Vanning.
Sempre metida a fiar, sempre a fiar e sonhar, para logo não ser nada, para logo não ser nada. Eso ainda está por ver, que as febrinhas do linho ou torcelas de caminho algo se ha de prender. Fiandeirinha delgada, sempre metida a fiar, sempre a fiar e sonhar, para logo não ser nada, que estaba che mirando sin dañar que encante no iba me indo enamorando.
And that's the singer PILOCHA with a song from Asturias, which is the nation of honour at this year's 51st Festival Anteceltique de Lorient. And now you view old Greeber's craggy snout, a mountain boundary, and here he notes that the boundary is between Marown and German, a mountain boundary oft capped with cloud. So there we had a craggy snout of Greeber to rhyme with cloud. Presumably he couldn't think of a suitable rhyme for either snout or cloud, so he made it craggy snout to rhyme with cloud. But ere you leave the parish, cast a look at Holy Trinian's ruins in a nook of rural beauty. Hard by flows a brook. When the other side of Greeber, look on high and see WK almost in the sky. There, from the rock, he eyes you as you go, looks down upon you and the world below. Content to live within his cottage neat, distant from care or call from small or great. Yet those who visit find him ever gay and kind and courteous in a friendly way. Well, perhaps WK is William Kelly of The Rock in Kirk Marown seems to fit the clues. There was a William Kelly chosen as a member of the House of Keys in 1820 and 1823, so he'd have been a member at the same time as Anthony Dunlop, at whom we were looking. And Sheo le mi lunason, Tree len elia, as veg and naiach, ten aanhieger a seo chit de vei aglach. De bergach vissem een enmus de skruurish, na a vol de rol, weiten gennacht en smoeishach. Ach en el pecher be a glaasjen weg me Jonathan, nieris en skruwen jernach sjen. Ha nodum a goil pagigus G, son surrans vader. Te ben de smoeeg Lucy de vei griesich na verju. Ach, ons achten Elliot die ons slent bij. Swie bagertach van die rijer, as tan a ysteren grei de jig sterremorren. Seiden dou correber gien as insig a monnichen en emscher. Dew she la liev ton, as tan grin chaus tam I skriw shaw, follich lorish bodgel en chew, eurt erskin kettle ness. Slie to the cholju ni. Limme Jane fair glass, vis Jane gurish emerald na maastok. Claach lier taluinach, ta bodulin lier, dach de edrum lesh a skell grania ern chemmel hall, crocha skinnach heen lier. Now, in one of W.H. Gill's letter to his brother Deemster, J.F. Gill, he mentions that a well-known singer of the day, Plunket GREENE, had claimed The Sheep Under the Snow for his repertoire from Gill's setting for Manx national songs. Well, this is Harry Plunket GREENE, but with a version of another song which was collected by the collectors here in the Isle of Man in the 1890s, this time from William Cannell of Balladool, and it's called Poor Old Horse.
My clothing it was once of a linsey woolsey fine, my mane it was long, and my body it did shine. But now I'm growing old and going to decay, my master frowns upon me, and thus they all do say, poor old horse. My lodging it was once in a stable so warm, to keep my tender limbs and my body from all harm. But now in open fields I am forced for to go, to face cold windy weather like white sharp frost and snow. Poor old horse, my living it was once on the best of corn and hay that ever grew in England, and that they all do say. But now there's no such comfort that I can get at all. I'm forced to nab the short grass that grows against the wall. Poor old horse, my hide unto the huntsman I freely now would give, my body to the fox dogs, I'd rather die than live. Although these gallant limbs, they have flown so many miles, o'er hedges, ditches, bramble beds, like wives o'er gates and skies. Poor old
Poor Old Horse, sung by Harry Plunkett Greene, 1865 to 1936. Well, apropos of nothing, his grandson, Alexander Plunkett Greene, was married to Mary Quant. Onze chyn, tan a gofyn geni sy'n amach gwrys mer lia. Tan chyn snapros diach harish nerge and tanners nerge and rei geni lesh bwyrwch, plwchit ons na frwch and mara vis shiba harish a tolu. Ta oer na crunje kailt ons keil dia. She fénus ter de chulju rid. Tan a bodjul and trogel aru gorish carrick and moora, as ta brúl harish a chyn vis shienel gorish rawen ech da graag. Ta kumbach and dorch a trai on shaws and shen, na kuurt and lie chelit se che, as jean de vel dainier mar bilgen, shul. Tan a bed and yeasty ride a valia, as dat giri as tujum se woer ira, chaus dat skebus jachs a furt, lees de herishkus na scupperenok. Cormanar, de shan Mr Swales chit. Te chit de girach dus, as fodum fag and ljorishnach te trogel sus an edegge, de veli giri lord. Tammy me vaige moer de loer ljorish kachled and chan dun je bach. When further on, omit not to admire the verdant Northop, clad in soft attire of foliage beautiful and level lawn, where flocks do browse on dewy grass at dawn. Well, Northop is on the other side of the road below, where Hall Caine built Greeba Castle, and also Greeba Towers, which is for sale if you want it. The woods of Greeba and the various farms on both sides of the dale, the house, and here he has a note which simply says, meeting house, the house that swarms with devots happy of a pious race, whose sleek religion beameth from their face, are all among the beauties of the place. I'm assuming this is a reference to Greeba Wesleyan Chapel, built in 1797, with 186 seats. It was replaced with a chapel on the same site in 1882, and that was in use until 1975. It is now a private house. That's the site, but not the building referred to here anyway, which would have been the earlier one, 1797 to 1882. Then, pass an avenue of trees. A throng of birds salute you with their song. Well, scarcely birdsong era danser, the Penguin Cafe Orchestra.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
As short you station the Nation Radio Vanning, as she Claare na Gael ter Glash and Cartnish, MERRIMAN Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Ever heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
Leaving this place of gardens, and here he has a note which reads, Cannae, or the source of streams. So this is that area south of the road down into the Curragh area, plenty of water about there. In respect of Cannae, J.J. Inneen's place names of the Isle of Man cites the manorial roll for 1515, when the owner was John Mackay, and he says it comes from Kiaull A's hill. A is a personal name, and he says Mac is omitted in the place name. The usual meaning of Kiaull is a head or end, but when followed by a personal name it usually means a small height or hill. Perhaps he saw Cannae as standing on a slightly raised area as the ground slopes away down from the main road towards the Cannae road itself. On the other hand, A.W. Moore's surnames and place names of the Isle of Man refers to Cannae as head ford, with Kiaull a head or end and a ford. Volume 1 of George Broderick's place names of the Isle of Man also gives it as ford end or head from Kiaull. Tre haie shis liorum, durche rum on sacht fi veen, bewailiam grey ruddenach rutsch me in the veen. Dod mi fagen na rawe a geish. Ma so gauw mi a chian lau vach chraplit sa lau as vrij mi jay de lord de sledden. Ma so durche as vergele lau sa lau Strailia me ma veen de dug mi grey noord, geen aurus les ulju na drag ridden van mi de grey me gion de merriu as nen lied, rischachtien tang ol sha. A grauw kiel aan dou, as bevalia mos konjen a sen tre tammy a soel. Shingen the shansteren, as te mer gelia orin, as lesh ongaas cool and eye. Chameleon son a goed smoes munionair, as gen elshin giri goil aalrosh. As shen an oor tammying ol toyer de ginu edrum jay, de ginnens gurgige me grieheen beggen. Ach, graie jorts, me in a veen. Genel mi goil aalrosh gedden best nisje chor be. Another great Celtic festival, the Eisteddfod Genedlaethol, was being held at Tregaron on the week, and so I was watching the ceremonies and competitions on Channel 4 Well, here Annette Wyn Merriman sings the traditional song A Cobler di Bach, accompanied on harp by Jennifer Jones.
Paddoch en civiligit, am cobler bach di olan ddewi, sen a sef o llai sawdl en sif. Tof aldir alaldir alaldir, tof aldir alaldir alaldir. Oh, oh, aldir alaldir alaldir. Cobler bach di hat rescit, a cobler di moi at last, a cobler di maur at votas, weg was got the rang tho I geft. Tof aldir alaldir alaldir, tof aldir alaldir alaldir. Oh, vi briude savori, ar geven ven hasse glas var, a honun veg treuve da hanner, ai meter or munghid al slaur. Tof aldir alaldir alaldir, tof aldir alaldir alaldir. Oh, oh. gaf, os gwelaf rhyw ferwyn like you, rwy'n credin mae'n chamred o nof. To faldi-ra-laldi-ra-laldi, to faldi-ra-laldi-ra-laldi,
A cobbler D. Bach, the little dark cobbler, the smartly dressed cobbler, in fact, who has the best shop in town, as described by Annette Wynne Merriman, who is herself a fine pianist, but she was accompanied there, as she sang, by Jennifer Jones on the harp. A chanel mi giri gedden bes ma vis ced au co shai. Slicklie de vel machre tarne gerenish. Son tammy shan. As de chied blain rauwers on dunier be de jurkelrish. As tammy gefagus de vel een shan dunje sluw en jaren folderach egge hanna. Tau tiggle, ga nodum frail vai jinu gammon je kart erich tjoel. Ní na cabban gol morvadolach rish. Laenjach de lia, ní einl ve shellem me charn mahan. Ach de gin dobberen as com a veen, no de vacke der am Kenya. De ginnach chit on ní sjo heen, ge ginnens gobbel de freger den aiege. Son te bios lo gulju veggach furach den riddenach elje na shen ta shin de yunu. Ach, geneach bes fod ma julju kroche her de vier. Ach, ta mi boeiach son te chitorm wien as chit de blew. Fuddy de jinne chit chaus as in gien as gindis. Well, we've looked down to Canay on the left, whilst, says the Reverend Stephen, on the right, a farm productive, pleasing to the sight. Well, in this area this could perhaps be Cronkbreck or Ballacraine, but perhaps not as far as Ballacraine at the crossroads yet, because he says, roll on to Ballacraine your vehicle. There's a note which reads, Crane's Place, an inn. Well, Ballacraine is the place or homestead or farm of the Crane family, but this reference to the inn seems to be jumping a bit ahead of itself, so I think it's an editorial note rather than one made by the Reverend Stephen himself. So we see the farm Ballacraine on the right, while, says the Reverend Stephen, on the left you see the woods of Gael, and a footnote reads Ballacraine, i.e. Ballacraine. That would mean place of the gardens, you see, Ballacraine, so he's looking at Ballacraine and making of it Ballacraine, place of the gardens. Well, as we came along from Greba, the Reverend Stephen said that we were leaving this place of gardens, so in this footnote he's tying these things together. Well, now, here's a disgraceful story, with, fortunately, of its sort, a happy ending, at least for him, although he scarcely deserves it.
Shenin je bochele boch, ver a clue shit hall. She donieg va Gael a red, hug tast a mighty trevi shul. As rau a grim gi a main, as liege a talui, as rau colina agne gi, as hragai the hiadu. Hugge a rechas ons a strip, as varke hin na tavi, as hugge a hevach mosh a main, as huli rish a caval. Vagino a talu kjart, vagino the brow, gus henket hog an osje douden, as huggy she's the now. Esh hugge a chavel glas, as varke hin bakelja, en hierder valje henket hugge, Fiandeira gi fenja. Varket was sheden the scoterie, a shen va makiach mila, as varke hin chow staidjin yat, as jai a chow mooi. Esh gauw is klach veg ons lau, as krankie a dares, as choir en foslen dares G, ach rimor hin a cheere. Ven ellen egg, Cryn fet a dabberen ho crai, ta donieg chaws dai geniat, as te spulje mi tur ti. Ne spullet tau jeder good glas, na jeder ta bui, te spulje mi jem o vogenus, an rod van jeda dem a chri. Mushe shan giljejen, Yahushua a fuza, ach mushe lesh ben eliate, Yahushua kroget eg a chwil. As gawad mach en donje eg, as she shan giljejen, as renny rai the fuza as shen and red vacrina.
Brian Mac Stowell with the song on and Geen J. Bach. Now, George Broderick says, in reference to the name Ballacraine Beg, that it's an older name for Ballacraine. But he gives Ballacraine itself as a place associated with a family called Doracóin, so Ballacraine, rather than a place of gardens, the place of the family called Doracóin. Perhaps the woods referred to here are the sallies growing in the Curragh, in which you'll also find the archaeological site called Portacandus, which is just down from the crossroads up ahead. I'm not sure about the woods of Gael to our left. There was a Gael family long established in Claare, which we've looked at, but not for Ballacraine or Ballacraine in the Pigot directories for 1823 or 1837, which are the closest ones to the date of our poem. So we have Ballacraine on our right and the woods of Gael down to our left. And, says our poetical guide, straight before of mountain farms your fill. Well, we're evidently looking westwards, so perhaps it's through to farms on the slopes of Slewallian in the days before it was planted with trees. Fuddy the velis a ria mwy herish a chyn, vis corlesh call as murchura, as ergus gear, as creach and trauma. Jich, delayed doltajamach, te reddenach se ria shen, as onse frocht chow hall jay, vis shienel, as vis gien, as vis blaster, as vis sorrel, gorish bes. Teis an air, tammy genach den de valley chit. Jarn, cor orm fregert de ginnel tret an eitje orm. Chumme hoes na raiach en egge de kraui, as hroggy soes an edegge. Van bierlegge gleesige mot de bege goil paage. Look minute de rede hostage, Jiria. Renne krauw lauwen merem, as hugge banach orm, as hugge sleddenhem, as hule rosh de bakach. Renne olju me wege, as hugge an wei orm de moer. Van mi manre, gamlischel tammy, van mi manre tre henk rosh en arre de koes, leshen les reertach egge, fornoch les egge, renne stappel de lotrum morte gino de kinjach, ach olju en trail, dreile les gin beide jory. This is a recording of the Boscastle and Tintagel Players, recorded in 1943 by Richard Dimbleby of the BBC whilst he was in Boscastle in Cornwall. Stasiwn ar asiwn dyn e sio radio fanim, as on sio tasiw geisiach rys Claare and Gael. Mish Robert gyda'n carswell, Robert a carslach.
Have I heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
Chan nodam tiggle as esyn, she rwsiach vain chumma ach te gulma gyts an ach sgwei. Chan ele shigas an aidnega chorer bi. Te gyn the valley fagan and sterum chit, ach chanodde reche eder de rai mahuis a remus mara, na de hitstjach and shaw. Gich and shenrish. Te gull stuur de brau kwech, non a valley gold taste jane lau a wheel, te chin de magit lesh dach reden. Nimmits clash and tullu jay rosh and tre shawl en a verach. As nish capital shach. Garag as the Daily Graph, and hachtu lei mi lunusen. Festit ons lior lei Mina Murray. Vai fair naiach, Whitby. Fair jane a sterm and smoo as dol tajemi ons rekortesen, kjarter vei ein on shaw, lesh airtesen chomas kweches gin kasola. Ten empshire vei brindeloer, a chane chwishes de vei njau chadjen mi lunusen. Well, it seems that the Reverend Stephen is suggesting pausing at Ballacraine farm. Here bait your generous horses of their load, that they, the lighter, may pursue the road. Allow them provender, and then proceed with greater ease and all convenient speed. Where four ways meet, turn to the right uphill. So it's only now that we reach the crossroads, and there's no stopping off apparently at the Ballacraine Hotel, which is why I think that the footnote for Ballacraine referring to an inn was not Thomas Stevens, and he makes no mention of the inn in his poem. However, he would have known it because a copy of the Manx Advertiser newspaper for October 1819 describes the Ballacraine at that time as a well-established and well-adapted inn. It closed as a public house only in 1984. You may remember in the George Formby film No Limit from 1935 that a rider cornering at Ballacraine slid off, and the rider went straight through the door on the narrow truncated corner of the building and straight into the bar. Well, this weekend it's been Fla Kiaull na Chern in Mullingar, and that'll be on TG Cahar this evening. This is a song that was recorded by Donal Lunny, Coolfin and friends for an advert on RTE some years ago, but it's the well-known traditional Irish song, Dúlaman.
Broke a brack at over and Dúlaman a Gaelach.
The body joggers through Sarah Dúlaman Gaelach.
Dúlaman na binne bui Dúlaman Gaelach.
Dúlaman na farige barvi nyering.
Gajaya hug na jiru as and Dúlaman Gaelach.
Seri let the nien as and Dúlaman werach. Dúlaman na binne bui Dúlaman Gaelach. Dúlaman na farige barvi nyering.
Queen to manien as and Dúlaman Gaelach. Shafudu bella me as and Dúlaman Gaelach. Dúlaman na binne bui Dúlaman Gaelach. Dúlaman na farige barvi nyering.
Rachamaid go dere leis a Dúlaman Gaelach. Scanno muid broga dere a Dúlaman Gaelach. Dúlaman na binne bui Dúlaman Gaelach. Dúlaman na farige barvi nyering. Canin pido sin an all na fihiri. Hawahari pido na roth lang vitima. Dúlaman na binne bui Dúlaman Gaelach. Dúlaman na farige barvi nyering.
Doulemon, Donald Lunny, Coolfin and friends, quite a lot of people who took part in that. And 30 seconds of that, I think it was about 30 seconds, was cut down from it and used as the soundtrack for an advert that appeared on RTE. It's a sound that's getting deeper and deeper all the time, I think. RTE. And what was being launched, in fact, ended up as a right fiasco. It was a real mess, but at least they got a great version of Doulemon out of it. Well, with getting sidetracked to explore the history of Anthony Dunlop, it's some time since we set off on this particular excursion with the Reverend Thomas Stephen, but if you recall, our destination is actually Ramsey, which is why we now turn to the right uphill. And he says, down the vale of steep Craig Willie Sill. So we're heading into the valley up past Ballasspur and over Ballig Bridge, and once past Glen Helen we'll be climbing what people call Craig Willie's Hill. However, a landmark crag in the area was called Craig Willie Sill. Now, Willie Sill was William Sylvester. Don't know what his surname was, but William Sylvester were his forenames, and this was William Sylvester's Rock, Craig Willie Sill. There's also a Willie Sill's Meadow, Leany Willie Sill, in the area. And the road climbs uphill here round the rock and meadow, so Craig Willie Sill, William Sylvester's Rock, came to be interpreted as Craig Willie's Hill. However, before we start our steep climb up past Sarah's cottage and Lamphel and on to Cronkyvoddy, we pause at Renas, or Glen Helen as it's become known. We faste beg je saren gebrouw was ver vis de riw, as ren een tausmoer de horsie, geek jays on Curtis, gus Gael Vulgrave, by Robin Hood, Mullion Rig, Runswick, Staithes, as na Cochlein Torresons in the Boonus J. Whitby. Van a bed and brie Emma, Scarborough, Ginu Torreson, Soos Noosa Hoos, as for Taus as Cajinus de Giertige, Edder, Gus as Vi Whitby. Van Le Brouwerskin Cajinus der en faster, Treren Pertjane, na Tutleren, vis Tege Rollik een en jaar, as wij urgit Kionesach Shen, Freel Arre Erlene de Gien, vis Ragen Mohui is met jaar, Tarn Gael, de Tashbenes Doltajem, J. Jitterman Gies, en urse Sper hier hui. Van gie shedje wij nieras, ons ach mien, vis ons chinje barometrach courage gegeim, iru gies, flaan edrem. Ren en arre de koes kormich, toerastel chilirach. Te shan east ederau was freel arre is na sojan al jechied blain vijn een in jaar. Now here's a Breton song, a little song about a little hen, Ar Yarig. It's Morgwen, it's funny enough, a Breton song sung in Breton, but it's Morgwen le Normand, which appears to be Morgwen from Normandy. But anyway, she's singing in Breton, and with the group Az Neves, Ar Yarig.
Ur Yarig, gimen magizi, en ur gambret al hui ed ar nehi. Mes mi a droa geus troken en bocatri, an en pehan on a guide zansan. Shall hui ed ar nehi, mes mi a droa geus troken en bocatri, an en pehan on a guide zansan. Shall hui ed ar nehi, mes mi a droa geus troken en bocatri, an en pehan on a guide zansan, an en pehan on a guide zansan.
Marown le Normand and a group called Ars Neves, and they were singing a song called The Little Hen, Ar Yarig in Breton. Hugge feisnes ons acht trom, de jig sterm doltajum. Gael en de fear van Llai gaus ve chit, gestome les na moeraine negge de vogel en deed de jindesach, de rauw ko grunjach moer de loer chatan rishenenen, se chan rulik, de goil solje jane elage. Well, on an earlier excursion coming down through Lower Foxtel, we passed Ballacraine, the farmstead of the waterfall. And this time we have Renas, and this is from Rhine, a division, Renas, the division of the waterfall. And it's where the Renas River and the Blaber run together and out into the Neb. And in fact here we'll pause before we climb out of the valley up Craig Willie Sill, or round Craig Willie Sill. As my saw Gingy Erlun in Gaben and Erno de Bimajan Shaw, Dera and Nachirt.
Los petrubios con los pinos, los rendicios con Meriana, el soyut
We finish with more music from Asturias, the nation of honour in this year's Festival Ante Celtique de Lorient. This time it's the group Liberdon. Well, coming your way shortly will be Chris Pearson to present 2 hours of the best chill-out music from 7 till 9. And then Judith Lay will be here to present Sundown and take us through into Monday morning. Ach, Shananish, and so until the next time, this is Robert Cutting-Cartel, Robert a Carslach.
Our Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night, Eve. I'm a Chrieriu, as Orserlier, as my Yiri and Shed you will you.